Over the last couple of months, I've been meditating a lot, and I've been getting these signs about the things that I want, or one specific thing that I want, and I find myself not trusting those signs.
Stop that. So what you're saying is that you've got some habits of thought, some disbelief about something, but then you're managing to quiet your mind, and you're able to suspend the disbelief. And then when the impulse comes, or the sign, or the awareness of it, as soon as you get focused upon it, the disbelief comes back up again. Well, just keep going, and after a while, that disbelief will not come back up. But here's the thing that we really want you to hear, all of you to hear. Most would say, well, until what I want manifests, then I won't believe it. And we say, but you've got to have some faith or trust in the process. And so we're asking you not to feel certainty about it and not to need it to manifest, because that's what gooses up the distrust. Because reality is confirming that you shouldn't believe it because it hasn't happened. So reality will always prove that your dream is not happening, or at least that it hasn't happened yet. And that's the whole point of this conversation that we're having these days. We're asking you not to look for trust or belief, because that might be over here closer to the manifestation. We're just asking you to feel satisfied in the thought. So when you see the sign, it could be really satisfying to you. You see what we're getting at? The thought just feels good. So if you're looking for satisfaction of the thought, not power to create it right now in my experience right now.
And I do feel satisfaction, but it usually, I'm so close.
You're starting to think too much. So just feel the satisfaction, and in time that satisfaction will turn to trust. If it feels like mistrust rather than satisfaction, it can't turn to trust. Did you hear that? So if you find satisfaction can turn to more satisfaction and more, and then it can turn to trust, and then it can come to belief, and then it can turn to knowing, and then it turns to reality. This full-blown manifested in every way where you can translate it through all of your physical senses, and so can others. But in the beginning, just ask for satisfaction. Not proof, not evidence, not speed, not momentum, just satisfaction. Ooh, that thought felt good. Ooh, that thought feels good. Feels good. That is such a satisfying thought. Esther is finding herself all through the day acknowledging how satisfying this is. How satisfying this is. How satisfying this is. She spent almost a whole day in the airport last week, on Monday, in one airport or another, and had more lovely encounters with more lovely experiences than usually a week or 2 or 3 or 4 will yield her. Because she just kept finding a reason to feel satisfied, which would just bring something else and something else and something else and something else. She accomplished more that day on her computer in the Sky Lounge than most weeks yield to her. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what's happening, when you get in that satisfaction mode. And interesting, all that satisfaction, and yet her luggage still got broken. Always something more to clean up and clear out. Always something more to want. Always the potential of more improvement on more subjects. More realization that it can be better still, and it can be better still. And we're making it sound like it's just little things, but it's all things. It is as easy to create a castle as a button. And it is as satisfying to create a button as a castle. Yeah, if you really need a button.
Thank
or want
you.
One. Enough?
Yes, thank you.
So if I understood you correct this morning, you were saying basically enjoy each part of the journey, even...
You've been hearing that for a long time. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey. But it's sort of annoying when you just want to get to where you're going. But you are where you are, and you have an option of finding satisfaction or finding dissatisfaction. Those are your options. You don't have the option of transporting yourself someplace else. You are not going to close that mileage, time and distance gap, but you do have the choice of being satisfied or not satisfied, and the power to do it. And the more you practice it, then the more power you have. Until then, each moment that you are standing in, that you formerly felt was dissatisfying because it wasn't all the way to where you wanted to be, is rich with new things that you want, so that every moment is satisfying.
So the reason I bring that up is I just finished reading Man's Search for Meaning. If you're familiar with that, okay. And he basically said the same thing. And my question was going to be, somebody I ran into here said, are you going to ask a question if you get picked? And I said, yeah, I'm not sure. But so my question is contrast and suffering the same thing?
They are, but suffering is more attention to unwanted. Contrast is contrast. Contrast doesn't mean wanted and unwanted. It can be degrees of wanted. Contrast doesn't mean wonderful things and terrible things. It's different things. It's variety. But when you get focused within the contrast on something unwanted, and you are not watering it down with wanted things, then the momentum of the unwanted can become so great that it is suffering. But let's talk about suffering. All suffering. Do you know what all suffering is, big or small? It's depriving yourself of what your inner being knows here now about this. That's what suffering is. It's the depriving yourself of the fullness of who you are. And the longer you do it, and the more you do it, and the more intensely you do it, the more you deprive yourself of it. It's a little bit, and this analogy is, like all analogies, it can help you, but it's not the whole story. It's like you might be a little thirsty, and there's no real suffering in not immediately going to get something to drink. But if you keep it up, it's going to get more acute. And if you really deprive yourself of the replenishment of that fluid, you're going to start suffering in a stronger and stronger and stronger way. So when you disallow this life-giving, replenishing energy to flow, a lot of humans get used to quite a severe degree of suffering as they deprive themselves of love and instead choose hate. And just because it doesn't kill them like not drinking water would, they put up with it. They acclimate to that kind of suffering. They acclimate to the suffering of hate, to the dissatisfying suffering of hate, when they could be experiencing the satisfying joy of love. But a lot of people, it has to get pretty bad before they make another decision. And by the time it gets so bad they're really suffering, they can't make another decision because the momentum is so strong. And then they have to do that terrible, all-inclusive thing of meditating. So much to ask of yourself. Oh, I've pinched myself off from well-being on this subject for so long. Now I have to quiet my mind. We've enjoyed this interaction. More than words explain, but not more than emotion does. So satisfying to us to witness the shifting, the releasing of resistance, the allowance by you to your allowance of the rising of your own vibration. We like to peer into your vortex. We like to spend time there. We like to be there. We like to know that you. We like to know that fully expanded so far, because we never get it done, do we? Expanded, evolved you. We like to know that you. We like to be that with you. And then we take such satisfaction in being with you wherever you are in terms of whatever's going on, knowing the satisfaction you are feeling as you are closing that vibrational gap yourself. When you made the decision to come into this physical body, you knew it would be just like this. You knew that there would be variety that would stimulate you to the desire for more. And you knew that your ability to receive that more would not be instant. And you liked that. You knew that you would be molding it into place. You knew that life would cause you to carve out a very large variety of interests on a large variety of subjects. And you knew that the mixing together of those new intentions that you would be discovering along your way, you knew that they would formulate what would eternally be yours and our future experience. You also knew that we were standing by, and that our awareness of every piece of expansion that you discovered, that we would focus upon each piece of it and, in a sense, sort of hold the light on for you, for your personal, human, physical discovery. And you knew that even in the not letting it flow to you right now, that it was still there for you. You felt no risk whatsoever in coming into your physical body and in discovering more. And you knew that since your expansion could never slip back, that when life caused you to ask for something more, you knew that this time-space reality and you within it had the ability to achieve the vibrational altitude or attitude that would allow the full unfolding of it into your experience. And for that reason, you eagerly came forth with no one pulling on your chain, no one trying to hold you back. You just jumped in with all four, knowing that life would stimulate you and us to new and profound becoming. And you knew that once you got the hang of allowing the becoming to become, that you would live happily ever after. So you came with a guidance system that only exists because of the two vantage points of you. The non-physical vantage point that is evolving so rapidly because of you, and the physical vantage point, which is about the thoughts that you are thinking. And you blessed every idea of contrast because you knew it would cause the expansion, and you blessed your emotional guidance system because you knew that it would help you know moment by moment where you stood in relationship to allowing in the furthest expansion that you had asked for. So now here you are, coming into conscious realization of this, understanding the wholeness of who you are, but not getting yet quite to experience the surprise and delight of that expanded you exposing itself into the wholeness of that which is your physical life experience. Esther wondered for a long time as she listened to us why we continued to talk about the surprise and delight, the surprise and delight. She said to us, but Abraham, if I'm the creator of my own experience, why would it ever be a surprise? And we say, because you've created it incrementally, because you've asked for some of this and some of this and some of this and some of this and some of this. And you didn't have full comprehension of what all that you asked for has culminated to being. And you didn't know how perfect the timing of your awareness of it could be either. So here it all is, ready for you. And the question is, how much of what is ready for you are you ready for? And the answer lies in your satisfaction factor. The more satisfied you feel moment by moment, the more you allow yourself. The revelation has been flowing to you. The revelation is there for you. The question is, what is your perception of the revelation? How much of what is being revealed to you are you receiving? And that's all about your satisfaction factor. You just gotta find reasons to be satisfied, no matter where you're standing, even if you have to meditate to do it. And when you do, what unfolds for you will be this eternal experience of graceful ease and flow of living happily ever after, which is what you planned on, what you deserve, and what we all want for you. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain satisfied in your